welcome everybody to the Final Fantasy VII Remake Demo Impressions. I am the Seventh Sword and now it's time. So, I just beat this demo, fresh out of the demo, and I have to say, I am actually impressed. I am excited. This demo did what it needed to do, and it solidified my excitement for this game. I enjoyed every moment of it. I like the direction that it's going. I'm very, very, very excited. Full disclosure, I am an avid Final Fantasy fan. Final Fantasy VII was the very first Final Fantasy game I played. I was like 7 or 8 when it released at the time, and I was just enthralled with it. It was everything that I wanted out of a game, and I just remember like being at school and just waiting for that bell to ring so I could just get home and continue playing Final Fantasy VII. I actually learned how to read because of Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy VII, 8, and 9 enhanced my reading skills and vocabulary like no other game out there because of just how many text boxes there were. It's incredible. You know, I wouldn't read a book, but I would read all of the text dialogue in these games. So that's just my experience with Final Fantasy. Alright, so let's dive right into this. So I'm playing it on the PS4 Pro, and it runs really well. I mean, the frame rate that it's running at is very smooth and it's very nice. I really don't know the frame rate that it's at. I don't think it's quite 60. I think it's probably around 45 frames if I had to throw a number or guess out there. I don't have a way to detect that. So, and I don't know if that's going to be, again, this is the demo. I don't know if it's going to be that consistent experience throughout the entire episode. And that's just another thing, like, how many episodes is this going to be? We have no idea. Personally, I would like to see the entire Final Fantasy VII universe remade into this game, into this episodic whatever it is, because it would be really cool to just go through the whole story all cohesively through a game. It would be really nice because there's a bunch of different types of games out there and a movie even. So it would be really cool if it all just kind of came together in one game. Now, let's move on to the combat. The combat is very flashy, very dynamic, and it gives you a lot of different ways to play. You can play in the classic mode, which I didn't touch, but that's supposed to kind of mimic the original turn-based combat in a way. It seems like it's just going to be really easy though, so I kind of stayed away from it. I just chose normal, and even within normal, there's two different kind of ways you can go at it, and I did a mix of both. You can pause time. Well, not pause, you slow down time when you hit the menu button, and you can choose which skill you want to execute next. Now, most skills take ATB gauge. You fill up a gauge, and then there's different skills that cost different amounts of ATB gauge, and then you choose that one and you use the skill. There's also a quick action hotkey where you hold down a button and then you press one of the face buttons, and then you use the skill assigned to that face button. You can change those skills out. So I started using that slow down time menu for some stuff, but then I switched to the face buttons, the shortcut key, because I really like fast-paced combat. I did, however, continue to use the slow down menu when I healed. Very, very nice for healing, and I think that this is better implemented than Final Fantasy XV's menu because you could just spam potions all day in Final Fantasy XV. To those of you who said that Final Fantasy XV is easy, try playing the game and don't use a single potion. Don't use a single healing item for a while and just see what happens when you go into one of those dungeons. It's actually kind of hard. But I just didn't. I mean, that's one thing of Final Fantasy XV that I didn't enjoy, is just how spammy you had to be with potions sometimes. I like this one. I like this implementation because you feel the pressure a little bit here, because it costs an ATB gauge to use a potion, so you have to use it sparingly. Do I choose to attack or do I choose to heal? Do I think that I actually have enough time to get out of the situation and fill up another gauge to heal? There's an opening right now and I could maybe stagger the enemy. I like that. It's cool. It borrows a lot of elements from previous Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy XV and Final Fantasy XIII included. That stagger mechanic is in here and it is implemented in real time, and this is probably what we all wanted out of Final Fantasy XIII when we originally saw that trailer, how dynamic the combat looked, and then you realize it was turn-based. This is what we wanted. Final Fantasy XV's Armature Unleashed was amazing, don't get me wrong, but I think this is actually going to be better than that. And I love that. I love Armature Unleashed. Final Fantasy 15's combat system was very fun, but I don't think it was quite to the level that we wanted it until Armature Unleashed came out, and then you could swap between all of your friends. That is what really makes Final Fantasy 15 great now. But when it originally came out, as dynamic as the combat system was, it did feel like it was a little lacking, only because of probably how long it was in development. But there were still so many cool things you could do at 15, and the way it evolved over time was just phenomenal. But this combat system here, if it evolves the way that I hope it does as we continue playing it, learning new limit breaks, learning new skills, tying them all together, I mean, I would even like to see if you equip Cloud with different weapons, he's got different combos, maybe learns a different stance, because in this game, Cloud can switch stances. He switches between operator mode, and then I forgot what the other one was, but basically a heavy mode where he does heavy strikes and heavy attacks. Barrett will do like an overcharge shot, things like that. I'm hoping, and I don't know, this is probably just me being wishful, I hope that there'll be more stances that you can equip and unequip and just swap them out, or it's based off of the weapon that you have. Like, for example, Barrett's guns. This one, when you do it, he'll do like a different shot versus this one. Things like that. Depending on what sword Cloud is, depends on what stance he has. I don't know if it's going to go that far, maybe not in episode 1, but in order to keep it fresh throughout the episodes, they're going to have to change the combat. And I'm very intrigued to see what they're going to do, because apparently in this episode, you don't even leave Midgard. That's how long and short this game is. It's going to be 40 hours, but you don't even leave Midgard. And to those who don't know, Midgard isn't even Disc 1 in Final Fantasy VII. You leave Midgard, and there's still other things to do throughout Disc 1, and that's a 3-disc PlayStation game. So, it's interesting. We don't know what they're going to do, and I wonder how they're going to tackle the huge world outside of Midgard. There's a lot of questions. There's definitely a lot of questions. But either way, I'm still excited, because it's just a huge undertaking they're doing, and they're committing full force to it. I just hope it doesn't get lost on the wayside. I hope it doesn't stop at like episode 2, for example, where for some reason somebody leaves the team, kind of like Final Fantasy 15's DLC, where it was all nixed, and we're just left with a half-complete Final Fantasy VII Remake. That would be really sad, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I hope this does well. I hope it sells well. I'm sure it's going to. People have been waiting and clamoring for this game for a very long time. I, for one, am very excited. Just how different that first boss fight is from the original. All of the things they added, how many different attacks it has, all the different dynamic things it does while you're fighting it, traversing around the battlefield, you having to switch between, Cloud and Barrett to fight it effectively. It's really fun, and there's going to be a lot more characters in the game too. I'm so excited. It kind of like recaptures that feeling, that sense when I was a kid. So excited to come home and play a game. That's how I felt when I heard this demo came out. I just couldn't wait to get home from work and play it. And yeah, I just wanted to share my experience with you guys. Let me know what you think of Final Fantasy VII. Have you played the demo? Are you excited for the remake? Do you not care? Do you hate Final Fantasy? Whatever it is, just, you know what? Let's start a conversation below. This is Talk Gaming. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.